Okay, hi, it's Paul Green from the business community doing another one of our regular Spotlight On interviews. And we've got a double whammy today, husband and wife team, Paul and Robin Bone. Hi, guys.
Hi, Paul. Thanks for having us on.
No, you're more than welcome. So thanks for coming along. So what we do with these, if you're not tuned into one before, is we just delve into the business life of a particular small business, local small business to me. So we're going to do that. So before we actually probe and poke away, do you guys just want to introduce yourselves and let people know what your business is and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Paul Bone, Managing Director of Kingsley Roofing Services. We do specialise in heritage roofing, but we carry out a wide range, and I have the support of
Yeah, I'm Robin Bone. I'm Paul's wife, and I help out in the office doing mainly the office admin and booking in jobs. So yeah.
And mainly keeping him in line, no doubt, Robin.
Yeah.
Try to.
Well, this is the organisation of the business. God knows where we'd be.
So the intention of these is just to sort of like learn what your business journey was really. So how did you get to where you are today running Kingsley Roofing Services?
So it started probably about 6-7 years ago, maybe a bit longer, 10 years ago. I was always a roofer. My father was a roofer. I learnt the trade off him. And then, it was I think it was a 2008 or 2009 recession when that kicked in. There was no work. It completely dried up. So I actually worked on the bins, and we'd just had our first daughter, hadn't we?
Yeah.
So I stayed there for about 2 years, but then just got fed up with it. My daughter was getting older. I wanted to earn some more money. So we actually started a window cleaning round first because I couldn't afford a van. And then we went from there. We went into a small partnership for a year or two, and then that went a bit sour. And then, we started Kingsley Roofing 5 years ago now. So how long have you been part?
I've been part of it now 4 years. I did work at the hospital for many years before that. And then after we had our third daughter, I became very poorly, had a heart attack. And then it put life into perspective a little bit for me. And the main thing that we wanted to concentrate on was our business. So I became part of Kingsley Roofing Services then. So
Excellent. So I often ask people on these stories, what's your why, which comes from Simon Sinek's book. I know you read some business books, Paul. I'm not sure whether you read that one. And it really is, what makes you guys tick, what gets you out of bed in the morning. You've sort of touched on it a little bit, but do you want to say anything more about, what the driving force is behind you guys running this business?
You just tapped me on the leg as if so you could talk. It's the kids. It's to have more time with them. Albeit I probably haven't got more time now, but I don't work weekends. That's all for the kids. And if something happens, if there's a school play on, whatever it is, I'll just go to it. That's for me, for everything. If I don't spoil them, but if they want something, they get it.
Well, looking at your weekend social media posts, it looks like you're doing a good job with the kids because you're usually taking them out somewhere or other. So at least you are spending some quality time when you have got that weekend off.
Yeah, we do absolutely loads with them. It's my mum used to do it with me. We used to be out every weekend, even if it's just going for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them to be on their iPads, on the telly, whatever. I'd rather be out doing something with them. My mum used to do it all the time with me, so I think you hate it. It drives you mad, doesn't it?
if it's raining, I'd rather be at home. But love it. It's good fun with the kids.
Rather be in the warm. Yeah, I can understand that. So how many staff do you have now then, guys? How has it grown over the last 5 years?
So I found the networking scene about 3 years ago. Before that, it was always just me and a labourer, weren't it?
Yeah.
And then I joined the networking world, and we've really exploded. Really, we've been about here, there, and everywhere. There's now, I want to say, there's 8 or 9 of us, and we do use a few subcontractors as well. At one point, there was about 13 of us, and we are looking for more staff. So if anyone does know any roofers out there, it would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, it's just getting out in the local business community, people referring us work over. It's like a constant flow from the business community over Northampton, really.
Yeah.
And that's how we've generated our business.
And how have you found it? Because I know people in the construction sector have sort of faced quite some steep price increases with sort of like raw materials and stuff. So how did you guys cope with that? It must have been quite difficult when the sort of prices almost went up overnight.
It was a bit of a struggle, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I nearly broke down over one job because we was in contract, and I got a letter saying there was a 45% price increase overnight, and the person I was in contract with was not willing to renegotiate. We're not doing any more jobs for them, to be fair, because I understand we was in contract, but this was unforeseen. We planned the job really well, so we've not had too many issues with materials, but the price increases, it is stabled off now. But while it was probably one of our best years, profit-wise, doesn't reflect because we took so many hits.
Yeah.
Just to get the jobs done, really. It was, at the end of the day, it's not the customer's fault it happened. We didn't know it was happening. Some people were quite understanding, but in general, it was a few sleepless nights, weren't it?
So has it leveled off a little bit now then?
It's leveled off, yeah. It's leveled off. It seems to be holding. There is talk of maybe prices coming down. I haven't seen any of that yet, but there is talk of it coming in the coming months, which hopefully, because you look at what you're paying now. We were paying for a linear meter, a batten, roof batten, for example, we're paying 40p a couple of years back. Now we're paying £1.15.
Right,
and
yeah.
That's the kind of price increases we've had over the last year, really. It's been has it been the shortage on top of it, with people are just buying it whenever they get a chance, and people were bulk buying and hoarding it. So it just made it difficult.
A bit like your industry's equivalent to the toilet roll and pasta shortage.
It was, yeah, it was.
So is it what type of roofing do you do? Do you prefer commercial or do you do domestic? Is it a blend? How do you go about sort of getting new customers?
Over to you.
Well, so we built it up through a domestic client base. I've always worked for domestic clients. Again, then through the networking world, we got a lot of commercial contacts. Now, our ideal work is heritage buildings, coming off main contractors, architects, developers. That's sort of perfectly what we'd like to do 90% of the time. However, the domestic work, it does help with our cash flow, because a lot of these bigger jobs, there can be 30-day payment terms.
Yeah.
We do struggle now to react quickly. We've got a pipeline of work going into April, March next year. So if someone comes along with a leak, we do struggle to get out there quickly, but it's hard to sort of, I always want to help people. And someone rings me up saying the house is flooded. I want to go and help them. Robin will more be the one to assess that now, whether we have got time to do it, because it's not fair if I say we can do it. Robin then looks in the diary and say, blinking heck, when we're going to fit this in.
Yeah.
So we're trying to manage that at the minute to get it right, really. So we don't want our service to go down by promising stuff we can't do.
Yeah. Well, someone was lucky with you living next door to them the other day. What with those winds, didn't they have a roof slates coming off or whatever?
Well, it was her. I think it was her dormer from the back of their house.
Oh, okay.
Over our house into her front garden.
Right.
Which made a terrible mess of her front garden as well as her roof. So we did come out on a Sunday and help her out. So
we mobilised the lads. We all got out in, I think it was about 2 hours, and she's all watertight now. It's not finished. It's just a temporary covering. But yeah, that storm, we did actually cancel a lot of works that week, so we could help people out, because it was I've never seen nothing like that.
Done a lot of emergency repairs over the last week, so
yeah, it was a bit crazy. So you've obviously got competitors out there, guys. What would you say makes you different from your competitors?
I always struggle with this one, but a lot of what we get the feedback on is our communication. I know what it's like from when it was just me as a sole trader, working on the tools, delivering quotes, delivering the jobs, managing the projects. Because as a trade, people think, oh, you turn up at 8 o'clock, you do your job, you go home at 2 o'clock. They forget all the planning that goes in behind the scenes, which on some jobs, it can be massive. And a customer might ring you up and you book an appointment over the phone, and then a trade doesn't show up. It's really well known in our industry, and I wanted to stamp that out. But for that reason, now we don't take appointments over text message. We don't take them over WhatsApp. We'll do it in an email. So we know we've got a reference of it. We know we're going to be there. It's very rare we miss an appointment. If we do, someone's always notified. Don't get me wrong, it does happen from time to time if there's a glitch. If we put it in the diary and it's not showed up in the diary.
Communication, isn't it? If you can't make an appointment, you need to communicate and to let people know, so they're not waiting around all day for you as well. So
yeah. I think that is important in your industry for sure. So diving into running your own business, then, what have been some of the learning curves that you've had on that journey then?
God, what haven't? What's it been for you? It's been a big change for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, I don't really.
Robin's been chucked in recently on the whole accounting side. She does all our bookkeeping, everything like that. And I think for us both, it's just been, you learn so much. I used to be quite hot-headed. Some of those that know me, I still can be quite recently. But you have to, people aren't doing stuff personally, I think. That's what I found. It's not on a personal attack. It's just their opinion. And I've really had to scale that back and listen to other people quite a lot as well. And get organised. As those that know me, I'm not the most organised in the world. That's why Robin has to pick up all that slack, but I've had to get a lot more organised.
Yeah. Well, if everybody's got their different skills and not great at everything, are they?
Yeah.
So we've obviously been going through the sort of like pandemic over the last sort of like, I guess 20 months or something, whatever it is. Outside of that, which has been the biggest challenge for most small businesses out there, what would you say is the biggest challenge that you guys have faced as business owners since you started?
The biggest challenge, what we always find, is probably the learning side of things as well. You're constantly having to learn. Like, I'm a roofer by trade. I'm not a businessman. I can barely use an Excel spreadsheet, and you have to learn all these different things. And that's what, again, the networking scene's been great for us, because you can lean on these people. You've got people you can trust to, whether it's for a fee or sometimes they do it as sort of a bit of a gesture to you, and you pick up all these different things. But staff is definitely one of the biggest things for us finding. There's always been a shortage, hasn't there, of skilled roofers, especially on the heritage work. And it's finding them staff. Anyone good, their company looks after them, which is what we try to do. We try to look after our staff as much as possible, but they're already working, and it's staff is definitely a huge issue for us.
Yeah, I think a number of industries are finding that, aren't they? You know, I think haulage is one, isn't it? HGV drivers and what have you. So I guess it is a challenge out there. So if you weren't busy enough already, you got involved with Northampton Community Aid and wrote me in as well. Thank you for that. So do you want to say a little bit about what that charity is about and why you got involved with it?
Yeah, so the charity, Northampton Community Aid, it is a charity that is based in Northamptonshire. It only deals with Northamptonshire charities, but it supports smaller charities. There's a lot of charities that people in Northamptonshire will know about. Kids Aid, Rush the Den. We give funding to these smaller charities by using the business community. They come on board as a member, and we distribute funds to these charities where 250, 1,000, 2,000 pound makes a huge difference. So it's not going into one of these charities that have got loads in surplus. The money really makes a difference to them. I got involved because I was actually referred in to do a gentleman called Steve Adams' roof. And midway through doing this project, the pandemic hit, and I was chatting to him. He was talking about the charity, and I said, well, my vans are empty. If you need them for anything, we can sort of go around delivering, because we shut down for 4 weeks. And it was about 6 or 7 months after that, he asked me to come on board as a trustee, and I've seen what they're doing. And I love the local business community. I love supporting others. And it amazed me through COVID how the local business community still wanted to support charities, even though a lot of these companies were on their arse anyway, they still wanted to support. So, and we asked for a donation of £250, and it's making a huge difference in their local communities. That's what really made me want to go on board with it. And then, yes, managed to write you in as well, Mr. Green.
You did. No worries. Happy to help. So you're obviously busy people. Do you have time for hobbies? Do you do anything outside of looking after the kids and doing charity work and repairing roofs?
Not really, no.
Unless
I do enjoy a glass of wine on a Friday evening, but that's probably about it.
And a Wednesday.
I guess 3 kids is enough of a hobby, isn't it?
No, we enjoy it with them. It's like you probably like seeing, we're doing something every weekend. We just like to be out and about, whether it's walking, even bowling, whatever it is. I just like to be out with the kids.
Yeah, I think you're right. You know, these days it's easy just for kids to plug into the matrix, isn't it, and be on their iPads or whatever they're doing. You know, what the kids do these days. So you said you'd do a little bit of a solo slot for us and sort of like share some advice for other small business owners. So I'll just put you in that mode now and hand the floor over to you. There you go. The floor is yours.
No, one thing, anyone thinking about starting a business, a few of my friends, colleagues, other roofers, anytime they ask me about starting a business, say, just go for it. At the end of the day, what's the worst that can go wrong? And if you are starting a business, just get involved with the networking team, whether it's BuzzCon, whatever the networking event it is you want to go to, because that, I really put that on propelling our business, not just the referrals we got off it. It was also the advice we got from bigger businesses in the room. I think we dodged a lot of pitfalls just by doing that. And then, as Paul said, by getting involved with the charity, that really put our name out there. We've always done charity work. We've done a lot for your charity, didn't we? A few years back. What was your charity called? Beat Scad. Well, as my wife said, she was quite ill a few years back. And that just really puts your name out on the map, that people know you want to support the local community. And as soon as people see you wanting to support, they naturally just want to support you back, really. And that's what we found. We really pushed our name out there, didn't we? Yeah. Is there anything you want to say?
No, you said it all.
Okay. Well, I think that when you approached me, that's why I got involved, really, because I wasn't doing anything proactively, contributing back to the local community. So I think it was just the time was sort of right, really, when you approached me and sort of said, did I want to get involved? And I obviously spoke to Steve. And I just thought it was a good idea. And like you say, it's helping the smaller charities, isn't it? So which I think are probably ones that have struggled the most during lockdown to raise funds. So it's a good idea that you're there, or we're there, helping those guys out.
Definitely, because that's the thing that often gets overlooked with charities. These really small charities, like I say, where that money, you can just see it in their eyes. We donated the chairs to Cafe Track just for the outside, and we went there for the opening of it, and just seeing the difference it made to him, it felt really rewarding. And for what, yes, we do put a lot of time into a fair bit of time into it, but not huge amounts. So it's just nice to see that, being able to give back to these charities, because they do go through, and a lot of them do some absolutely amazing work of what they do, but they're not heard of. No one knows about them. Yes,
like I say, it's the tiny ones, isn't it, that just aren't seen, unfortunately. So final sort of thing from you guys then, and you can do it collectively, individually, or whatever. Given your experience of running your own business over the last 4 or 5 years, what is one top tip that you would give to any other small business out there?
I don't know.
I'd say get on the networking scene, whatever way that is. There's multiple different ways to do it, but that is definitely what's really helped us. And use technology as much as you can. I'm starting to use more and more of it now. I was a bit of a dinosaur 2 years ago.
And I think to me as well, it's the networking that is good for any business, I think. And it's personal development as well. Like when I first got into networking and working within our business, I was terrified. It was so daunting to me. So, and networking helped me a lot with that.
Yeah. And how did you find out about networking? Because it's obviously something you probably weren't doing, then all of a sudden you found out about it. So what was that sort of journey? What was that like, discovering the networking groups and going out there?
So I visited a networking group about 8 years ago. I regret not joining now to this day, but I actually thought, what a bunch of jumped up idiots. That was my general, and then it was when I was slowly starting to come off the tools. I thought, what was that again? And then I come to BuzzCon as well, didn't I, at the time, Paul? And it opened up this whole new world of all these different networking groups. Then I just started attending. So I'd had experience with it through someone had invited me via email or on Facebook or something like that. And wasn't right for me at the time. But then realised after, and I am a bit gutted I didn't join all them years back, because I think where would we be now if I had? But then at the same time, I probably wasn't ready for it. So
it's just the time.
It's all about timing, like you say.
And then you got involved with it as well, Robin. So what was that like for you?
Well, Paul took me along as a visitor to a networking group, and he sort of took me in at the deep end, and he said, you'd love to become a member of this. And so at the time I was a bit like, I don't really want to, but then I become a member, and I've been a member ever since. So it was very daunting though, but it was very worth it.
Yeah. So what would you say to people that maybe are in business but aren't taking advantage? I believe like there's certain few fundamentals for me. So I think pretty much every business should be networking on some level. Just getting the name out there. So what would you say to someone that's quite apprehensive of going networking or thinks that it might not work for them? What would you say to encourage them to try it out?
Oh God, I'd just say just go and see what it's like. There's many different networking events and groups and stuff that you can try. And I think you'll find one that suits you and your business. So I'll just go along and visit a few. I would, and we did, and it's worked for us. So
yeah,
I think there's so many different types, isn't there? And different events. There's relaxed one, there's very formal ones, and it's just what works. Again, finding what works for you at the right time as well.
Yeah. I mean, as you've touched on, that one end of the can't even speak now. At one end of the scale, you've got like the mix and mingle coffee morning type things with no structure, and then at the other end, I think that I'd probably say that BNI is the other end in terms of the structure and the formality of it, and then you've got every sort of thing in between. So there is going to be something that's going to suit your style or whatever. And it is about the people that you meet there. And not every networking group is going to work for everybody, but I would say to anybody listening, watching, give it a go. There's a lot of choice out there, and a lot are still virtual as well. So you've not.
I was going to say a lot. You're still doing a fair few online as well. And if anyone's just getting into networking, I think that's a great way to do it because you're in the comfort of your own home. You're not. Everyone's terrified of public speaking. It's people would rather die than public speak. But if they've got the opportunity to do it, try it out on there. And I was very apprehensive of online, as most people know. I pretty much stopped networking altogether. But I was really surprised at the relationships that were still built online.
Yeah. Well, like I say, some businesses started since March last year, and that all they know is this. Really, it'd be interesting to see whether they start to come out to the face-to-face stuff. I mean, I think virtual's here to stay for a while. Whether it will stay forever, I don't know. But I just think people have got used to just rocking up. Some of them just falling out of bed, making sure they're smart from the top half up, because you don't see the bottom half. And sometimes worry if people would stand up in these meetings, what they might be wearing below the sort of screen. But it is a great time to do it now because I think it is still quite daunting for the face-to-face thing. If it's your first time walking into a room of 20 or 30 people or whatever it is, that can be quite. I remember back to my first time, and it is quite nerve-wracking thing. But I think most groups nowadays, will make newbies feel welcome and show them where the coffee is and ease them into the meeting because obviously most groups want to grow and make people feel at home when they come along. But it's good time to start out. So anything else from you guys, or shall we wrap it up?
Nothing from me, no.
Looks like we got a comment. Hold on. From Paul Sanders. You know Paul, don't you?
Yes, I know Paul. Where are we at? There is some great online networking, Paul.
So thanks for that. Nearly missed that one. So thanks for your time today, guys. So we'll end the broadcast there and let you crack on with your day.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much, Paul.